Welcome back, everybody, to Week 2, Day 1 of the Mythic League. Team EEK now going against Universal Basic Income, and it looks to be a banger towards the top of the standings.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. Universal Basic Income looked so strong last week, 2-0ing, and specifically going against some of the teams that were considered to be some of the best in the league. So very, very impressive. On the side of EEK, Kongzi is a Masters player and shows it, and he carried the team on his back sort of in the first match, and the second match was unable to do it again. So 1-1, and they face off against each other. I am pumped.
Yeah. And we already see some interesting ban decisions coming through. The Udyr not going to be available for accusations this time. Seraphine as well taken away from Team EEK, a character that Irina Thunder particularly loves to have. Meanwhile, Team EEK going to target some of those classic YUBI characters. The Nocturne and the Zac taken away from Utility Monster champions that he has had championship success on, and Brian Sing's infamous Maokai also going to be shut down. So we do see YUBI going to go ahead and kick things off with a Victor and Braum ban, or takeaway, which is pretty nice. Not revealing too much there. This does mean that Brian will be on a slightly more defensive option than what we might typically expect. Team EEK now eyeing up the Orianna for Irina Thunder, actually going to be the Lux, which is, I believe, Irina Thunder's most played character across all seasons. So extremely comfortable on this pick, and not something to be surprised about at all. And Oriri going to the Karma this time.
Yeah, we saw Irina Thunder get what was considered a game-winning bind at the very end of their first match last week. She's very comfortable at the Lux. They also tried diving her at one point in time, and she was able to trade back a kill, or not even trade a kill, but keep herself alive despite the dive. So very comfortable on that pick.
Yeah, and Jeff God Gamer going to be on Caitlyn duty this game. So, we've been freed from Sivir jail, thank goodness. Sivir took a couple of nerfs in this patch and hasn't been, still strong, but not quite as impactful. So we're starting to see the AD carry meta open up. And they're actually targeting down a couple of Kongzi's most practiced characters. Has been spamming that Ezreal in rank, so going to take that one off the table. Twitch as well. Team EEK, I'm curious what they're going to fill in for their physical damage that they need in their composition.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised here with the Victor on Universal Basic Income. I mean, they are very well known for letting their solo lanes show up at the very end of the match, but I think they're familiar enough with Irina Thunder's champion pool that they're not afraid to blind it.
Yeah, and Civillock, one of those like eminent control mage players, always sort of able to pull out a new mage. Team EEK trying to decide on their AD carry of choice. It does look like it's going to be Sivir locked in, which is solid.
Yeah, despite the recent nerfs, though, I'm a little bit surprised to see it here.
It does fix, Team EEK, they've already got the strong movement with Karma and with Hecarim. So I think that despite the nerfs, I think this is actually a really smart choice because it's on theme for what their team wants to do. Now they have even more move speed to sort of go in and get a fight started when it's going to be favorable to them.
Yes, I'm just wondering if they're going to have enough damage here. I mean, ultimately, they have the go in, but the other team has a lot to block with the Braum and the disengage, and now here with the Sejuani as well. It's really hard to go in against a team that has a Sejuani and 3 melee champions that can apply her passive.
Yeah, and that Sejuani will... Actually, I believe we'll be going to Utility Monster, if I'm not mistaken. So that's gonna be interesting. It is nice to see that these like powerful bruiser characters in both Olaf and Sejuani have seen more and more play in the Mythic League. I think that one of the things that is underrated about YUBI's draft is that they have a number of characters that are very flexible and can go between lanes. In this instance, they're going to send, I believe, the Sejuani into the jungle and put Olaf for red up topside. But the fact that they even make that choice makes them a much more dangerous team than what would normally be expected.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that was a true flex here, and the result of it will depend upon the Shen matchup. Are you super familiar with either Olaf or Sejuani into Shen and what that matchup looks like?
I can tell you that Shen, struggles with characters that can beat on him for a long period of time. And Olaf is one of those characters that can keep Shen in a fight. Because Shen would really appreciate to do short trades, like you get your taunt off, you get your Q to pass through the enemy, you hit them a couple times, then you use your shield to walk on out. But with Olaf, he just throws an axe at you and you're slowed, and then you're slowed forever, and then you die. So I think that my initial impression looking at this draft is that this top lane is going to be very YUBI favored, and it's up to Let's Go Joey to find really key Stand United positions to try and turn things around.
Yeah, the interesting piece with Olaf, at least, is that Olaf doesn't have a way to interrupt either the Stand United or the teleport. So if Shen even takes teleport with the Stand United available. So as opposed to the Sejuani, but I think Sejuani is a lot more important to have with the team before objectives, to establish vision, to be able to push vision in less safe areas because she's so tanky.
Yeah. I do think that Team EEK have drafted a good composition for themselves. This is like looking pretty comfortable. All these characters are things that they have a lot of experience on, and not just experience, but competitive experience, right? Which is so crucial, particularly in the early weeks of a league when we're still trying to figure out, what strategies are going to work for both for a team. You want to play something that's like, okay, all five of us have played all of our characters. We know exactly what we need to do. And they also punish mistakes very well. One of the weaknesses of YUBI Universal Basic Income in previous seasons, they have specifically had trouble dealing with Hecarim. So I'm excited to see that being picked up for accusations and to see where he devotes his time, because historically YUBI has been caught off guard by that extra move speed.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this thinking of mid to late game lane allocations. The YUBI has a pretty good comp for doing a 1-3-1, and despite some of the dive tools on the side of EEK, with Sejuani and Braum, you have a lot to keep your Caitlyn safe under tower. On the other side of things, though, they don't really have it with the Karma being their mid, or actually that's their support, I apologize. So with the Lux being in the solo lane, it could be a really tough matchup, I think, to be able to wave clear against the Victor and stop the 1-3-1.
Yeah, I definitely think that YUBI has the easier to execute composition, because as you've identified, I think that they have better solo laners in terms of if they want to split the map, they have the option to do so. Lux, not a character that you want in a side lane very frequently. You would also prefer to have Sivir sort of with the team. But Team EEK has a range advantage, which is interesting. You don't typically expect a team to have a range advantage against Caitlyn Victor, but they do. This Lux could be absolutely pivotal in breaking sieges and sort of forcing action on the map. So I think that Arena Thunder's position in this game is going to be critical to the success of EEK.
You're right. If they do have a 4-1, I think they don't even have to worry necessarily about the dive, but just that poke pressure would make it hard for the three specifically of the 1-3-1 to be able to wave clear effectively.
Right. Well, we'll have to see as we're just about ready to get onto the Rift here. YUBI versus EEK. This is an exciting match because there's a lot on the line. UB still currently undefeated in the standings when undefeated in last week have yet to be taken down. Team EEK trying to change things up and ascend from the middle of the pack here.
Yeah, no surprise here. They're starting out with this 5 point, the UB special, and I think I've only ever seen him do something else on one game specifically.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and walk on in here very safely. Jeff gonna complete the ward, so very safe and non-committal way to get a ward down, just to get a feel for where Accusations wants to start the game. Does look like they're gonna be pathing down towards that red and working topside. Utility Monster seems to want to do the same, so both junglers going to end up topside at about the same time, barring something weird happening.
Yeah, we apologize there. We had the wrong team on the red side on their graphic there, and we'll be fixing that momentarily. But bot side start pathing from bot to top on both sides, although the path direction is being hidden on the side of Eek. They ran to lane, and Hecarim has taken the leashless red.
Yeah, will be spotted out on the red ward, as we already see Brian saying getting in the action, Ariri trying to get that cheeky Q. Both teams going to be pretty happy to farm this out. Now, one thing to mention about this bottom lane is that despite the range advantage, Sivir can be quite strong into Caitlyn. I say that, though, as Kongji takes the full stun. That's actually a ton of damage to kick things off. But because you can use your spell shield to step over traps, it becomes much harder for Caitlyn to set up that extreme position. Level 2, though, going over, and both teams going to smartly back away.
Yeah, they both hit level 2 at right about the same second. Brian was trying to push something there, but he just didn't see the Q to be available to start off that fight.
Yeah, and I'm very curious, as this game develops, how this bottom lane goes, because I think Kongji has really been the star of the show for Team EEK, particularly in their victory. Absolutely curb stomped that game. But even beyond has been like a great leader and decision maker for that squad. So if that lane goes poorly for EEK, I think it will be very difficult for them to win the game, given that they have a lower damage composition.
With the Q down for Ariri, there's an opportunity there, but unfortunately the Q missing makes it difficult. I do want to point out here, Utility Monster, who is very well known for full clearing and not ganking before 6. We got some action here in the bot lane, though, with the passive on Ariri.
Yeah, manages to kite things out, so it's going to be okay. Ariri taken kind of low. Kongji completely out of mana, though. Going to use the spell shield to help keep things going, but I mean, this is a scrappy battle down here. Like, I don't know what's going to happen next. I feel like, somebody could drop with a poor combo at any moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the range versus melee matchup. Brian's going to want to all in if possible, because his health is starting to get a little bit low to the point where he won't be able to all in if he takes too much more poke here. And so, but what I was saying with Utility Monster, he actually did 3 camps. He did blue, Gromp, and then red. And I think was just kind of keeping an eye on how the solo lanes were going before opting in to go Golems, Raptors, and back down to the bot side. So very unlike him, and it looks like he may be actually growing and adapting.
Go for first blood. The flash out of the bush to Joey to try and live, but it's not enough. The attack speed from low health is just too strong, and Red picks up an easy first blood.
Yeah, if he's able to get this in, well, the teleport is available to Shen, so he should be able to get in and pick up this wave, but very well played by Red.
Yeah. One of the most preeminent top laners, both in Heroic last season and now proving to be quite the menace in the top side of the Mythic League. Very happy to get that. And just like we saw in the last game, actually, Irina Thunder catches Utility Monster doing some Raptors. That's not what you want to see. Ariri trying to get the root, doesn't quite find it. Accusations, even expending the Ghost to try and get here in time, will secure the Raptors but lose the Summoner spell.
Yeah, and ultimately his health doesn't really matter because Utility Monster hasn't even backed yet. So Getting the ghost there actually was not bad on the side of utility monster. So being able to pressure their jungle, force them to respond, and he really doesn't lose anything for it because he needed to back anyways. We see Hecarim here looking at his camps, trying to counter jungle, trying to punish that move by utility monster, but joke's on them. He full cleared back ultimately, and so his camps are not spawning on the bot side of the map now.
Yeah, that was some really clever pathing in the early game. Path topside skipped the wolf camp, but it gave him a reason to path bottom, and he ends up up a camp over the Hecarim and manages to grab the Scuttle Crab down here. However, Accusation's making a smart move. He's scouted out that the jungler has no reason to be in the bottom half of the map, which means that he's just going to go ahead and take a solo dragon. Meanwhile, though, Utility Monster making their way up to the top lane. Will they be able to get something done? The stun will not quite land, and they're just going to be able to walk on out of there safely.
Yeah, he did expend flash on that gank. Was not able to turn it, so good job on the side of EEK here, recognizing that they have this prio in order to get the...
Brian saying may have bitten off more than he can chew, taken very, very low. Accusation's gonna have to walk on out of there. Ariri now perhaps in trouble. I can't believe it! YUBI wins the 2v3 and walks on out. Kongji now trying to turn things around, but it's not gonna be enough. Meanwhile, some action in the mid lane. Utility Monster forced to flash.
Yeah, Brian blocked so much damage in that fight. With his shield, and ultimately after the shield dropped down, they did not have enough to really finish it off or threaten all that hard. And so Jeff did a great job of trading back as long as he could, knowing that he was still relatively safe with a lot of the cooldowns down on the side of EEK.
Yeah, Civillock now threatening Arena Thunder, has very little mana, a bit of an awkward spot, doesn't have the teleport either. This is a spot that you hate to be in as a mid laner because you desperately want to reset this wave, but as long as your opponent is there, you know that you'll miss minions if you leave. So you can see them being in a little bit of trouble. Meanwhile, Red, trying to take this Gromp, is spotted out by Ariri. Let's Go Joey now trying to start things off. Root gonna land, he's gonna use the CC to immune it. Now Ariri is the focus of choice. Will they manage to trade the kill? Oh, it's just enough! I can't believe it, he's able to win the 1v1 and take the Gromp away. So even though Red goes down, that's a win that you take.
Yeah, and while this is happening, there's a lot of minions dying up top, and unfortunately Red has such a strong CS advantage now over Joey. He is going to have a really tough time if his wave is in a tough state and pushing away from his tower.
Yeah, Accusations now making their way down in the bottom lane. Ultimate gonna land from Sivir. They're trying to get damage onto Jeff God Gamer, but he's so healthy right now. Kongji now trying to force onto him. They will be able to secure this kill, but it is going to be a trade back. Kongji now trying to finish off Brian, saying Ariri has arrived. The flash, will that be enough to get to safety? The slow does not quite land. They're thinking about the dive, but Kongji takes the aggro, so ultimately a 1-for-1 trade, and if you're YUBI, you've got to be happy with that as well.
Yeah, a lot of pressure taken off the map with Hecarim dying there in the bot side of the map. So trading the 1-for-1 is fantastic, but it looked like it could have been a lot worse. But the new buffs to Hecarim, giving him the, I believe it's both magic resistance and armor when his W is up, really helped him to survive as long as he did in that fight. But ended up taking too much damage from Caitlyn, and that means he died.
And as we take a moment to take stock of this game, Red still with a massive advantage in the top lane, up almost 40 CS at 9 minutes. That is insane. That is too much. that is too powerful. And because of his CS lead, not only has he taken the lead over Let's Go Joey, he's also continuing to snowball that advantage. The priority that he's getting allows him to go in and steal the Gromp, and this time go in and steal the Rift Herald away. So that's going to be a problem that Team EEK need to solve. Meanwhile, though, they're continuing to try and hammer in this bottom lane.
Yeah, Riri playing Karma is the champion where you need to get outside of the wave in order to get your damage down, and that's really tough against a long-range champion like Caitlyn, who loves being outside of the wave in order to get the E combo onto you.
Yeah, and you can see both characters doing everything that they can to trade. A nice little ultimate from Jeff Got It Gamer, just continuing to try and poke out and provide pressure. Brian also able to get the ward, but here comes the ultimate. Do they have enough? The move speed is so strong. Accusations gets just barely slowed up, and they manage to survive it, but man, is that close. Actually, Jeff God may be turning things around. Utility Monster has arrived. The Bola will connect, kill Kongji, and this is a massive turnaround. Civillock as well running down. Stand United going to come through to secure the kill on the Jeff God Gamer, but it's anyone's game. Ghost popped. They will secure Accusations and continue pushing. Arena Thunder here to try and disengage, and at the end of the day, it's, I believe, 2 for 2, but turret totally free topside and a Rift Herald in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think they might take 2 towers for this. If they can get a little bit more damage before the charge. No, it looks like they are not going to get the bot tower, but I think they will get the top tower off of this. And YUBI Freelancer, who's a sub for YUBI, very well known for saying they're losing so much top when he's sitting top all alone and everybody's fighting in the bot lane, and that's very true in the case of this fight.
Yeah, I mean, Red has accelerated up to 60 CS up again at 12 minutes. That is absolutely bonkers to be that far ahead this early. Gonna be sitting at, up at a level lead, you have to imagine, pretty soon. I do like that Kongji very smartly made the rotation to try and come up to the top side, just to try and prevent that turret from going down. But now this is gonna leave this bottom turret exposed because Shen has to go down there. So first tower still gonna be going over to YUBI.
Yeah, I was surprised it didn't go down. It looked like Red prioritized proxying the wave a little bit in order to take away some of the CS for their top lane and allowing the turret to kill a little bit of it. But they were pretty secure at this point with the damage on the turrets that they were going to get that first turret blood, and it did not take long for Caitlyn to walk down bot lane and take it.
Yeah. So this is going to be the map starting to open up as both outer turrets going to fall here. Trinity Force completed as well for Red, so we talked in the pregame how YUBI's team can really put on the hurt if they split the map up, and I think that that's exactly what they're going to do moving forward.
Yeah, they're definitely getting a lot of, obviously they've been very strong on Olaf, but then they've been focusing now on getting the bot lane ahead.
Oh my goodness! Look at the damage from Jeff God Gamer. They are absolutely monstrous. 2 flashes burn. They're diving the turret. Arena Thunder is so close to dead, but they turn things around a little bit. A bit of an overdrive. So greedy. A YUBI classic. Utility Monster comes in and pushes a little bit too far. Accusations is here to turn things around. They're trying to catch on to Jeff God Gamer. It's just going to be enough, and a huge swing. Red is now here. He's got the Stride Breaker completed. He's got the slows. Accusations not long for this world. An absolute bloodbath in the middle lane. But ultimately, I think that Team EEK comes out on top.
Yeah, I think it's hard to track. It's hard to say exactly which team went out on that, but that was a very greedy play by YUBI, and not super surprising. They're in a very confident lead.
Red is going to die, but he's going to trade 1 for 1. Living up to that Berserker name. Just
very
going
big
ham.
Shutdown, unfortunately, going over, though. I don't see exactly how much it was, but considering it's, it's not showing as a shutdown anymore, but it was, I think, 250 when I glanced at it right after he died.
So now both teams sort of in a bit of a lull state. We've seen that the supports and AD carries have transitioned into mid. Kongji getting a fair amount of poke here, but Brian's saying also looking pretty threatening. These guys just love to scrap. Kongji taken very low. The flash forward, but Brian's saying to ignite, but he can't secure the kill. Ariri able to block, and oh my goodness, Team EEK win the outplay in the 1v or in the 2v2.
Yeah, that I thought that that Kongji was gonna just be dead there.
From downtown. This is why we picked the Lux, baby.
Oh, this is why Arena Thunder is so well known for this champion, because she is very good at getting those long-range snipes out of nowhere, even against somebody as sneaky and schmoovin as Jeff Got Gamer.
All right, so let's take a moment. Let's take stock of it. Just kidding. Let's go. Joey looks kind of dead here. He's taken very low just from this chunk of damage. Ariri gonna be here just to assist, but you can already see how, you know, that CS lead is starting to manifest in that bot site. Joey has not completed a Mythic. Red working on what looks like might be a hull breaker now.
Oh man, he is, as this game gets further and further along, I think it's going to be very difficult for Shen to do anything. I think Red's going to be able to just dive him under turret before too long, and he might just have to use his ult just to get out of there. He says, I don't want to be alone with his Olaf anymore, team help. I'm going to go to my team instead.
Yeah, and you can see YUBI is so good about putting pressure onto multiple points on the map. As Olaf is pushing bottom, oh, scratch that. Irina Thunder perhaps in a bit of trouble. Going to get ulted from downtown, but not dying. Manages to stay alive. Accusations now with the counter dive. Also going to get stunned up. Utility Monster forced to flash. I cannot believe that only one death has happened so far. Root going to land on Brian saying, though, taken extremely low, but Kongji unable to find it. I can't believe that only one person died there. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of unfortunate diving under the turret. Oh, unfortunate, Irina. But diving under the turret, the Shen ult did not go through because Accusations was taking too much damage from the turret. I think that if Accusations was staying alive on the backside of that fight, there's more of a possibility of them getting more kills there with the Shen taunt available once he came through the ult.
Yeah, and back to the state of this game. Excuse me. My goodness. I got something caught in my throat. Okay.
Well, I'll take over for a minute here. 8,000k on the side of YUBI, so they are pushing super hard to keep their advantage going, and Red's doing his best to pressure this bot lane turret, and 2 dragons on the side of YUBI. Everything seems to be going YUBI's way. I don't actually really see how exactly EEK gets back into this game.
The thing that's crazy to watch is that YUBI has been in control of the tempo of this game from the very beginning. And you can tell that because anytime that we have these close skirmishes, they're always getting something extra in return. They have a little bit of skirmish in the mid lane. They trade HP bars, but they're the ones with the initiative to go ahead and take the second dragon of the game. Earlier, when Olaf is splitting the bottom tier 2 turret and really putting the hurt on Joey, they're also taking the Rift Herald at the same exact time. So they're really pushing the tempo of this game, and that has accelerated them to almost an 8,000 gold lead. They make it look so easy.
Yeah, ultimately, they don't mind losing things as long as they get what they want. If they went and tried to collapse, if EEK went and tried to collapse Red in the bot lane, then they know they're getting the Herald for free. If they get contested at the Herald, then they know that they're going to start getting damage on that inhibitor turret. So either way, they're considering it a win-win and are accelerating their hold on this game.
Yeah, Death's Dance going to be the second item of choice for Red as well. Going to be even harder to take away. And he just walks up and just takes the Gromp. Oh, man. Poor Hackarib. That feels bad. And you can see Brian just walking in, no fear, just to get this vision down, is absolutely not afraid of Team EEK whatsoever.
And that's one of Brian's greatest skills, is just recognizing, you know, who's going to win this fight. Am I in danger? How much damage can they put out? How much damage will I take? Which allows him to just aggressively walk in there, knowing that he is going to be safe. He has a way to get out. He can jump to his teammates who are nearby.
Yeah, and you know, YUBI is doing their best to try and chokehold this game. Accusations, though, trying to get onto Red. Gonna go ahead and slow them up, but Red wants to fight. He's gonna start with the ultimate, try to run on out. A great ultimate from Brian saying will not be enough. to keep him alive. Now the question is, what can YUBI do, you know, to counteract this? Kongji maybe looking at the Baron, gonna go ahead and start up the Lizard while Jeff Godgamer takes down the mid turret. This is a very scary position for YUBI. Are they willing to sack this? Multiple members now coming up, but here comes the engage too early. Civillock isn't here in time. Huge ultimate comes through now. Manages to secure a kill onto Accusations. Ariri gonna have to flash away. Utility Monster ticking down very low. Will eventually fall, but at the end of the day, Team EEK gets surrounded and taken out. YUBI, what can't they do? They are in complete control of this game.
Yeah, even though that was a 4v5, EEK wants to fight front to back, and they're getting attacked from two sides by YUBI, and with very long range between Civillock and Jeff Godgamer, and so you could tell that they were split on which direction they wanted to go. And meanwhile, they had to pull off of that Baron because they were YUBI was just marching down mid lane, and they were going to lose so much if they committed to that Baron. So they were trying to catch a couple of the members of YUBI split out, but they rotated quickly, recognizing that they were pulling off Baron, and were able to ultimately fight the 4v5 and win.
Yeah, and not only are they pressuring the mid turret, you know, while the Barons the Baron's being threatened, they also have already swung a wave into bottom lane, so Kongji actually losing a bit of value in that bottom side turret after that exchange. But again, this is YUBI at their peak form. This is what they do. They make very smart map movements around these objectives, and for teams that are just slightly slow to the play, they end up getting punished time and time again. And the thing is, Team EEK isn't even necessarily playing poorly, right? They have 10 kills to 16. Like, that's a fighting chance. It's still a game that you can play, but they're down so much gold just from these rotations.
And a huge amount of it is in the CS difference. We've got 80 CS in the top lane, we've got 60 CS in the mid lane, we got 40 CS in the jungle. I mean, monster differences in these three areas. Fortunately, Sivir, the farming AD carry, is able to have a 50 CS lead over Jeff Godgamer, but that's a lot of gold that's coming over just from being able to farm and allocate lanes properly.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to sack this dragon as well. Dragon number 3 gonna be going over to Universal Basic Income. The ultimate steal is a nice attempt, but completely blind. It's not going to be enough. And you can see that EEK need to figure out what their strategy is going to be moving forward, because right now it feels like they've just been picked apart piece by piece.
Yeah, Braum mitigates so much damage in these fights. Sejuani is getting so tanky now that he's completed the Warmogs. And, the ult was cancelled.
Yeah, gonna get silenced. That's the thing that Victor can do. Has to walk it out. Will be able to get there with the rest of his team, but because Joey is chunked, that's the signal to go ahead on this Baron. Gonna have to send the recall. Ariri also considering a recall here. No vision for the side of EEK in this corner of the map. Accusation's going to check now, but he's going to be too late. And again, YUBI with these decisive calls, gonna hop over the wall. Accusation's gonna try and get something to happen here, but again, no vision, has to blind ult over it. The ultimate on top, it won't be enough. Ultimately, it is YUBI who secure the kill, and now the fight is on. Trapped in the pit, taking that increased damage, but where is the rest of the damage? Kongji doing what they can, but they're completely isolated without their support. Irina Thunder finally able to pick up one, but once again, YUBI takes the lead and pushes it further.
Utility Monster, I talked about it earlier, he was not full clearing, which is what he typically does. And usually, he would have gotten out-smited there. So, really impressive. I think Utility Monster has maybe been... I actually heard he was in a bot game earlier, so maybe he was in the bot game in order to practice smiting, something that YUBI has been asking him to do for a very long period of time. So maybe it's the pressure of being in Mythic, in a much more difficult league with a lot of very talented players in it, that has encouraged Utility Monster to look at his gameplay and see if maybe he should change a few things, and clearly we're seeing the effect of that in this game.
Oh my god. Don't murder him like that. Don't do him like that, Bill.
I'd like
But
to point out I played for UB for most of last season, and so I have a little bit of a
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, and I have talked about the classic, the Mr. Barwa classic, where he says, "I'm going to gank your lane," and then he gives your opponent double buffs at level 3. But back to this game, Yubi has looked incredibly dominant. It feels like the draft prep from Mr. Utility Monster has been impeccable. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. This Olaf has been working wonders, and now Team EEK is on the back foot trying to defend against what feels like an insurmountable lead. They are going to start things off, going on to Brian saying, taken very low, not quite able to secure the kill though, and with all those resources committed, Jeff God Gamer still free hitting in the back. Let's Go Joey has to try and flash away, but is it going to be enough? I'm not sure. Utility Monster now is the target of focus, taken very, very low. Kongji on the side might get obliterated, and ultimately, Team EEK managed to hold, though give up this inhibitor and a bottom turret. Oh, I'm just kidding. The ultimate comes through. Red is trying to secure a kill. Let's Go Joey back in the fight with the Stand United. They secure one, but my goodness, look at this hold. Utility Monster now trying to secure this. Let's Go Joey going to die as well. Kongji goes down, and this is just two supports trying to hold on to the remains of the base. Accusations coming back now with the E will finally scare off this assault, but once again, Yubi keep coming up on top.
Yeah, it's one of those things where when you're down 15, 16k gold, your only way into this game is taking riskier and riskier plays. The fight started off with an amazing binding by Arena Thunder and getting some good damage down, but unfortunately it's just not enough against a team that, as I said earlier, so tanky, a lot of mitigated damage by Brian saying it's so hard to get even the kill on Braum. And they walked up, took a lot of threat actually in order to try and finish off the Braum because they're just so desperate to get gold into their pockets. But as you talked about last game, we're starting to get closer and closer to that point in time where, Caitlyn here is not going to get any stronger. So if they can just collect the wave, which Sivir is very well known for being able to do, then maybe they'll be able to get enough gold into their pockets to contest.
That said, though, this is not how you want to start that contest. Accusations caught off on the war. Jeff God Gamer actually might go down here. They trade the 1-for-1. I can't believe it. Huge W for Accusations. Now Arena Thunder coming in with the ultimate will get blocked up by the slow, but where are the remaining members of Yubi? They're not here in time. Red is in the top side, split pushing, and they manage to turn things around. Kongji, a fantastic auto attack, will send Utility Monster back away from his base. And now it's Civilluck and Utility Monster trying to stop this dragon. Meanwhile, Let's Go Joey under threat in the top side.
Yeah, Red has a 2-level lead in the top lane, and it's like I said earlier, there's a certain point in time we got a fight that's going to come in here. They got the teleport.
They interrupt the TP. Will Joey live? Meanwhile, they're still fighting over the dragon. It looks like it's going to reset, but Joey manages to stop the reset. Meanwhile, Accusations has respawn and will be able to threaten this. Now, Red has no ultimate available. Stand United coming through. Will it be enough, though? It's not. Red just DPSs through it. Let's Go Joey might lose the 1v2. He does, and Yubi gets the third Hextech Drake. I can't believe it. Red is unstoppable.
Yeah, that Dragon Soul.
Oh,
wow.
no.
Oh, Ariri.
And on the run back, Ariri gets picked off too. I think we're looking at the end of the game. Minions are streaming into the base. It's only Kongji and Arena Thunder trying their best to hold. This is looking extremely tough. They will be losing the triple inhib almost assuredly. No, they want to push for the end. Jeff God Gamer taken a little bit low, but they can't auto-attack him, and that's going to be it. Yubi with a decisive victory secure their first place position.
Yeah, they played a little lax there, some places in the middle, a little greedy, but they had far and away enough of an advantage they could get away with it. Well played by Yubi. They go 3-0 and show why they continually dominated the Heroic League, and they're showing that same form here in the Mythic League.
It feels like Yubi sets the standard for good, solid macro play. in the league, and the rest of the teams sort of have to work to try and keep up. Because again, credit to EEK. I think like as individual players, they played that game mostly fine, right? They were making smart decisions. They knew how their characters worked. But you looked at how fast YUBI was to grab advantages, and they just kept grabbing and grabbing, and it felt like EEK, on the macro level, was unable to withstand the speed at which YUBI managed to take over the map.
Yeah, it's very difficult if you are chasing after somebody else's rotation and once you get vision of it. So controlling that vision, getting those rotations and getting them faster, YUBI beats the punch there, and then EEK is just trying to pick up the pieces afterwards.
All right, well, that is going to do it for game number 2. We'll be hearing from our triumphant victors how they feel about that match in just a moment. Don't leave your seat. Or do, I'm not your dad.
Hello, everyone. Chris Edgeworth here with our third interview for tonight, and I am joined second interview rather. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Second interview of the night, getting ready for our third game, no less. But I am here joined this time by Civilock of our victorious Universal Basic Income. How are you folks feeling after that clinical win?
Pretty good, Chris. It's good to be back. It's good to be back on the interview desk, and I felt pretty good about the way we played. I got to lane against Arena Thunder, who I've known for a very long time, so unfortunately, maybe a little unfair using some of my insider knowledge about the way she plays to get a leg up on the competition.
Let's start off with the draft, which is one place where I wanted to ask if the insider information had any advantages, because I was curious if you had known that Irina was going to be pulling this Lux out here, and if the Victor was what you had personally concocted. And then of course we did see Brian Sang does get released from his prison yet again, and this time they had Caitlyn Braum on the bot side. Overall, interesting draft. We saw Red go wild with the Olaf, of course, and then Utility Monster on the Sedge was cracked as usual. Give me some thoughts, if you would, on the draft and the prep.
Yeah, sure thing. I guess in terms of my own matchup, we were definitely thinking on how we could use the powered mid lane to suppress Kongju, because Kongju is pretty good at League of Legends. Clearly demonstrated that and has really ran away with games in the past. So we definitely want to respect that and play around that. And definitely something that we know about Simone is that in terms of her strengths, she has a really deep champion pool. She's willing to play any champion to fix comp, and she's a very good communicator. But something that we thought we could leverage is that she tends to be pretty stable and farm out the lane, but she doesn't play super aggressively. And we felt like we could get away with the scaling pick, and that was kind of what the thought process was behind the Victor. We try to get the Victor free farmed, get Victor as big as possible, and it doesn't really matter what Kongju is on at that point. You know, you can have as much gold in the world as you want as an AD carry. You're still going to get one shot by Flash, Q Auto, Lich Bane, Victor combo. And Kongju did a great job spacing out in the mid game. Very mechanically good player, and it was very hard for us to find the damage on him, but it's just so hard for him to approach the fight and hit our backline when the threat of laser combo is out to get him. So Victor versus Lux. Lux has a slight range advantage and is stronger early, has better skirmishing and better gank follow-up, but it is kind of on the burden. The burden is on Lux to pressure Victor before he's scaling your evolutions. So that kind of ended up paying off, and I got to basically free farm as Victor the whole game and run away with a lot of the mid game.
Let's talk about the game proper then. We were talking in the green room. I felt like overall it was pretty clean cut for most of your play. As I had said moments ago, clinical. Basically, I felt like this was never in doubt for most of this game. For you folks,
there were a few hiccups. We did actually made a pretty critical error today, where we did give up the second objective of the season. We lost, I believe, a Rift Herald last week, and today we lost the first dragon, which is really unfortunate. Thankfully, we haven't lost a tower yet, so we'll see if we can protect that record for a little bit longer, but we'll try our best.
So who do you guys blame those kind of failings on? Do you just go around and just make sure that whoever's fault it is known to be failing and shaming the team?
Oh, I mean, I think that one's pretty obvious. That one's obviously Jungle Gap, so.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, fertility monster angle, as usual.
Yeah, he's always doing his Krug, saying yes to full clear, so sometimes you just have to give the first dragon, accept reality, and it's okay, we'll get the next one. I always tell him it's okay. Even if you're a weak Sejuani, we'll power you up. We'll be there for you later.
Maybe he should be on Team Washed.
Maybe.
Got him.
He's the right age for it.
Let's chat a little bit about what it means for you folks. As I had mentioned moments ago, you're 3-0 now. I felt like these have been decisive games. If there have been this and that here and there, for sure. Overall, the general trend is, of course, on the way up. Stonks have never been higher in the Universal Basic Income, if there is such a stock to be had on Basic Income. What are your folks' thoughts as you folks have taken now 3-0 in pretty commanding fashion here in Mythic?
Yeah, I'm excited to give other teams a chance to figure us out. I think I'd be the first to admit UB doesn't really do anything special. We have a pretty basic game plan that we cookie cutter apply to most of our drafts, and it's not that it's easy to do. We do a lot of prep and to make sure that it works, but we have a very defined style that we like to play for. And I definitely feel like teams can give us run for our money if they figure us out. There's now a lot of UB tape out there on the internet for you all to watch at FFS VODs on YouTube. Definitely check that out. So you can watch our tape, see if you can figure anything out. Because I'm excited to be punished for my mistakes, and we can reflect and learn as a team. I feel like every season, the 1 or 2 losses that we collect during the regular season really helps us grow as a team. So I'm excited to pick up that first loss at some point. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But we'll see.
Well, until then, you're unmarked, unblemished, and it remains to be seen who, if anyone, will be able to strike that first blood. So, Civilock, thank you so much for joining us for this interview. Before we step away, though, as always, your opportunity for any final thoughts, any shout-outs, any banter.
Yeah, I was really excited for this match for 2 reasons. One is I got to lane against my good friend Arena Thunder, and that's always really fun. Second of all, we got to play against a Master Tier player. As you know, UB is no stranger to battling Master Tier players. So it's always really fun to try and figure out how do you kind of figure out what the heart of their team comp is. How do you make them feel as miserable as possible and feel unable to play the game? And Season 3 was Malzahar Ultimate. This time we took a slightly different approach. I finally got to play the Victor that I've been begging for 3 seasons. It was not Lolytics approved, apparently, and finally Joshua Barwell was forced to overcome his anti-Victor prejudice and give me this really strong champion for the first time. So I believe I played 1 game on it 1 or 2 seasons ago, but it was kind of a low-stakes, for-fun game after playoff contention had already been determined. So I finally got a real Victor game, feel good about that. There is may not be visible in the on the broadcast, but I'm sure it'll rear its head and trash talk sooner or later. There's a little bit of spicy BM going on. I'm just the messenger, please, no flame. Jeff informed me that he would like it to be known that he feels like he's probably the second best AD carry that FOF has seen, probably right after Mr. Chunks. That's what Jeff wanted me to relay. You make him interpret it how you will. And there you have it.
All right, well, I'll leave it there. And thanks again, Civilock, for joining us for this interview. Congrats to UB on this. And folks, we are going to just take a short break. We'll be back with our 3rd game for Mythic tonight, so don't go too far. Back very soon.